Welcome back to Two Sports Overtime. It is Wednesday, August 27th, and the regular season for the NFL and college is officially here. We've got some big-time games coming up this weekend. Of course, Ohio State, Texas, the 1-2 matchup that we've been looking forward to all summer long. But the Bengals preseason wrapped up on Saturday. They finished the preseason 1-2 after losing to the Colts 41-14.
Yeah, not the way you really want to end a preseason right before your week one game. Of course, like we've been continuing to mention, it is just a preseason. Really doesn't matter that much, but it seemed like even with, you still want to see like the second string, third string guys that are fighting for those roster spots perform a little bit better, especially at home too. Would have been nice for a little bit more of a show. Desmond Ridder getting plenty of reps in that one. We talk about, the former UC Bearcat coming home and, will the Brown family keep him? They love their local guys, but, it seemed like they were riding such a high after that Commanders win in Washington. We saw a great game from some of the starters, but, seeing guys like Mitchell Tinsley, the receiver, get those two awesome catches. It's just kind of hard to tell, anything really on a 41-14 preseason loss.
And it was all third team, fourth team, right, except for just a couple minor exceptions, which we'll get into one of those, but it's just
how it is. But yeah, you were on the sidelines too, so your first kind of unofficial Bengals game too. I mean, what were some of your takeaways too? Obviously, we talk about Ridder. Looked okay, but that pick six didn't go too well for him there.
No, and I was in the locker room scrum with him after the game, and somebody asked him if he thinks he'd still be on the team this week. He's like, I hope so, because that means I still have a job.
Yeah,
but, right. Unsure of if that will last or not, and definitely not the homecoming to Cincinnati he was probably hoping for.
Yeah, absolutely. And when we look back at the starters in the preseason, there were 2 drives in Philly, 2 touchdowns in that drive, 2 drives in Washington, 2 touchdowns in that drive.
So 4 for 4.
4 for 4.
On the starting offense.
Obviously, no Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, all those guys were sidelined here for this game against the Colts at home on Saturday. There's Burrow with the earpiece in, talking up with Trey Hendrickson on the sideline. Good to see him on the sideline, though, with everything going on. Chase Brown, though, 10 carries, 39 yards, a touchdown. Jamar Chase, 5 catches, 88 yards, and a touchdown over the course of those first 2 preseason games. But, there's that pick six there from Ridder. He ended up finishing 3 quarters of work, 8 for 20, only 75 yards. Riley Leonard looking pretty good, though, for the Colts there. 15 out of 20, 189. A touchdown as well, but
and you'll see that here in a second, actually, in this video.
There he is.
This is right before the half, 60-yard bomb right in front of me, and it was nice. A good throw.
Yeah, it was. Dropped it in there nice.
Wide open.
Is that Daniel Dimes Jones?
Treadwell, actually.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of as it is every year. It's just kind of like a we'll see. So Zach Taylor obviously talking about, this effort this preseason to get those guys those reps, something they haven't done before. Joe Burrow specifically playing a significant amount. He did say in the press conference leading up to the Colts game about how he felt that the team was in significantly better position, and he felt that the team was like better off because of the preseason work for the starters. So now it'll just be kind of like we'll see if it did anything, and try to avoid that sluggish start. But it's definitely something they have to fix going into this 2025 season.
He also wouldn't answer how much of the defensive scheme that they were showing this preseason. That was asked in Taylor's post-game press conference, and in pure Zach Taylor fashion, simple answer, I couldn't put a percentage on that. And that was it. That's all he said.
Yeah.
So it's just going to be hard to tell if what we saw from the defense is actually troublesome or if they were being very basic.
Right. But it's all waiting game. And obviously one of the focal points this season, we talked about it a little bit, but now it's kind of amplified in the last week or so, is looking at the Bengals offensive line and kind of where things stand. Cordell Volson had that season-ending shoulder surgery, season-ending shoulder surgery. Say that 5 times fast. He was a starter for this team for a handful of years, but was expected to back up this guy right here, Dylan Fairchild, that undefeated high school state champion wrestler. at right guard. So Fairchild expected to be the starter, but now left is kind of open.
Other way around.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, other way around. Fairchild
will be
left.
The left. He's all
Thank
but
you.
secured the left guard spot.
Yeah, it'll basically be his to lose. But
and it was between Rivers and potentially Lucas Patrick and Cody Ford, who have been day-to-day on the right guard spot. Volson, I guess, was expected to be a second-teamer as it was anyways.
Right.
He lost that starting job. But when I talked to Taylor, I did ask him specifically, what did you want to see from Rivers and what did you see? I think they just wanted to get a little bit more evaluation on him before they made a decision. And so that right guard decision hasn't been made yet. But the offensive line was something that they definitely wanted to address. It was defense and O-line in this draft, and they wanted to address that after Joe Burrow was sacked 48 times last year, which just sounds like an insane number.
Just way too many for your franchise guy. Too many hits.
That's more than 2 per game.
Yeah.
Which is insane because they didn't make the playoffs.
Right.
So that's crazy. Rivers got 23 snaps on Saturday. They wanted to get a little more evaluation on him. And I talked to Zach Taylor. He said that they were just going to look at the tape and see what he put on tape. They wanted to just get him more in-game reps as a rookie before throwing him out there. But also, right guard isn't necessarily a position that Rivers is accustomed to, although he has played on all 5 spots on the offensive line in college. Miami moved him around. Yeah. So he's kind of used to being able to move around. And I talked to Rivers one-on-one in the locker room after the game about just his outlook on this preseason, what he thinks about moving around, and what he thinks his chances are. So here's that conversation. You get some reps in today. Coach said about 23 plays. Just how did you feel after today, and how do you feel going into the regular season now?
I feel great. Obviously, I've been moved to right guard, and we've been working at that. So the past couple weeks, I've been just getting, sharpening my tools at that right guard spot, and I feel good going into the regular season.
How much of a transition is that for you?
I mean, it's nothing that I haven't been used to. I've been asked to do, stuff like that in the past, moving from tackle to guard in series in the game, but moving on the opposite side to guard. I mean, it's a challenge, but I'm up for the challenge, and I feel like I've been adjusting well to it, especially with vets that's been in my corner and getting me better.
Does it help you having Fairchild alongside with you, kind of somebody in your draft class to help you along? You guys might be starting side by side.
Yeah, and then it's good to have somebody like that as well, that we watch tape together. We tell each other, hey, we could have did this better, or you could have did that. We give each other great advice. It was great to have a fellow rookie like that on the opposite side at the guard, telling me transitioning to right guard, giving me pointers too. So it was great, and that's my boy. So I'm looking forward to keep learning from each other. Actually. Overall, how do you feel about your camp? I feel great, but it's not something to be like, okay, hang your hat on. You did good. It's something to learn from. So obviously, I feel like I had a solid camp, but room for improvement everywhere. And how much are you kind of gunning toward improvement so that you secure your spot in that starting lineup for Joe Burrow? Oh yeah, and it's great to have that starting spot, but I have to look at it. I just keep stacking my days, and then my opportunity will come. If not week 1, then eventually. So it's important for me to just keep learning from the guys, keep learning from coaches, and taking it day by day and keep getting better.
Jalen Rivers after the game on what he thinks his chances are of being a starter for this Bengals offensive line, and just what he feels like he needs to continue to do to prove it. Yeah,
you heard him talk about it. It's great to have, obviously, protection,
fellow rookie,
right? And guys that really care about wanting to protect Joe Burrow. I think the line from Fairchild when he got drafted was like he would give his life for Burrow or something. Like he said something really great that the fans really kind of were got them excited about the rookies that they brought in, because it has been a point of contention ever since Burrow's been drafted to the Bengals and been in this league is, the state of the offensive line. And he's been taking far too many hits. It has gotten better than from when he came into the league as a rookie. The offensive line was abysmal when he was drafted in 2020. But, since then they brought in Orlando Brown Jr., former Kansas City Chief. You got Amarius Mims, the rookie from just a couple years ago as well, who's just fit right in at tackle as well. And then now just these 2 guard positions. So it will be interesting to see a rookie kind of guard flanking the veteran Ted Karras at center. And then you have, like I mentioned, Mims and Brown on the outside at tackle. So the state of the O-line is looking very positive, at least in terms of talent and what they are capable of. And also quickly to note before we kind of move on to college quickly here, with what the Bengals are still looking at, we haven't heard any update on them looking to bring in Dalton Reisner. They had a very successful meeting with them. Another veteran guard who's been in the league, I believe, 8 years. He would be an instant starter. So it will be interesting to see if he does end up signing with the Bengals and where he fits in, whether he would beat out Rivers or even Fairchild, how that looks. But a good problem to have for the Bengals, especially when you're trying to protect number 9. And as Ted Karras mentioned, he's our hopes and dreams right there.
Yeah.
If you heard that bite after the hit from Shamar Stewart in practice. So we'll be keeping an eye on that, of course, and see how things play out. Of course, we're going to be kind of revisiting the Bengals next week. We don't have that information yet as of today, Wednesday, about any recent cuts, but we should have that in our next segment about that final roster for this Bengals squad going into that week 1 opener in Cleveland. So
just a week and a half away on Sunday against the Brownies.
Yeah, it's going to be, it's always a tough one. I mean, you think, well, the Browns, how can the Bengals struggle? And I want to say Joe Burrow's 2-3 against the Browns. So
everything that I keep seeing now, especially when they had the ESPN broadcast of the preseason game, is the line that everybody's pushing now is Joe Burrow has missed the playoffs more than he's made the playoffs in his career. Just, I mean, you look at the season he had last year, it's like, can you attribute that to him?
Yeah, no. He had, for all intents and purposes, an MVP caliber season.
Yeah.
And so did then Jamar Chase. So it's just, the defense did obviously not do their part in any shape or form. The offense was humming, but, the defense still has shown that it doesn't seem it's made intense strides this offseason, this preseason so far. But again, it's hard to see without a lot of the starters fully in there, fully meshing together under this new Al Golden defense. So,
and if they're playing their true scheme or if they're masking it all.
We'll find out in Cleveland against another good defense too. So, and we'll see about the Trey Hendrickson situation. Will he play week 1? That's to be determined. So, but quickly, obviously, we got Ohio State coming up as well this weekend. Number 3 Buckeyes taking on the number 1 Texas Longhorns, a rematch of that 2024 college football playoff semifinal, the Cotton Bowl. What a game that was. And Jack Sawyer, the hero on that one, that scoop and score. So they won 28-14 rather, and we got a little young quarterback matchup, some top prospects.
Brand new quarterbacks on both sides, so it'll be interesting to see how that one plays out.
Yeah, Julian Sayin and Arch Manning. I can't imagine any person that likes football in the slightest is going to not be watching this game.
Of course.
So we'll be interested to see what those numbers are, but we'll be at that game.
It's also the final college game day for Lee Corso.
Oh, that's right.
He's coming back one more time this season so he can end it where he's at least started the headgear portion of his college game day. He picked the Buckeyes in, 91 or something?
Forever ago, yeah.
That was his first headgear pick, and he's coming back to end it on a high note with probably what could be the best game of the year, week 1, which is wild to say. And, of course, the Centerville legend, Kirk Herbstreit, alongside him with his buddy. I love how much Kirk
They're great, aren't they?
Loves to wrap his arms around Corso. I know Corso's been in a decline a little bit with his performance, but he's still part of the team, and it'll be sad to see him go.
Yeah, he's so beloved by college football and college football fans. They're going to send him out the right way. So, we're looking forward to that Buckeyes game, but we're going to bring it a little more locally. We saw our own Jack Sawyer scoop and score in week 1 of the high school football season here in the Miami Valley. More on how that is going. Week 2 now already, hard to believe. Operation Football, it's all going. We're going to have some more high school sports football when we come back.
Welcome back to Two Sports Overtime. We're in our second segment of this August 27th program. And, Even though we're talking all football right now, it is still baseball season. We still do have some crossover happening, and honestly, in fact, some really exciting things happening in baseball here in the southwest Ohio area. The Dragons, all of a sudden, even though they've been mathematically eliminated and have been having one of the worst seasons in their franchise's history, are all of a sudden on a hot streak as we enter these final 2 weeks of the season. As of Sunday, after beating Peoria, they had won 7 straight.
Yep.
It was also their first time winning a series all year, the third to last series of the year. They finally won one. They also swept the Chiefs in that series, all 6 games, which they have not done in 4 years.
Wow. I mean, it's great to see him playing great. I know it's been a rough season. It's unfortunate that this stretch has come so late, kind of too little, too late.
Yep.
Vince Harrison Jr. is a phenomenal manager for that team. What they did last year, getting in the playoffs for the first time since 2017 was fantastic. The talent doesn't seem like is there too. Obviously, it is still a farm system. Guys are going to get called up, as we saw it already. Leo Balcazar, Johnny Ascanio. They didn't
Connor
Burns, right? They didn't have Chase Burns. Obviously we knew he was going to be gone, but really short, obviously, in his time here. So, it's hard. They had Cam Collier, Sale Stewart last year, some great prospects. So they had all the pieces last year, and it is just minor league baseball, and it just kind of goes that way sometimes with the pieces that you have. Kind of the revolving door. So. It's a little bit of a bummer to see that obviously they're eliminated, so they won't be getting back to the playoffs again. But regardless, for us and for them, I'm sure it's much needed to get some wins going. And 7 straight now. I mean, I think the longest last year was 9 straight, so they're getting close to that mark now. So,
which is also crazy because I went back to look at that to see, had they swept somebody in that 9-game stretch, and they didn't.
Right.
They actually didn't. It was split over the back half of one series and the front half of another series for that 9-game stretch. So, they hadn't swept a team since 2021. Granted, the series are 6 games long. It's a little harder than a 3-4 game series.
I mean, there's been some decent teams here last year. I mean, you're talking about Ellie De La Cruz being here during that time. Guys like Matt McClain and, like we mentioned, Cam Collier, Sale Stewart. So the fact that it's been that long, I mean, when you told me that too, I said, wow, I couldn't believe that. So you mentioned that Tom Nichols mentioned it on the broadcast. So,
and speaking of Collier real quick, there's some people who are really frustrated with the fact that Collier has not been called up yet. And they see like Matt McClain letting a strike go by and not even swinging.
I know a lot of Reds fans want to see Sal Stewart. I mean, he's been an unbelievable bat in AAA.
Maybe it was Stewart. It was one of the two.
Yeah. I mean, Sal's been crushing it. I mean, he in AA earlier this year was like just turned the page right over from being in the Dragons in high A, just took off right away. And then like, okay, we'll put him to AAA. Just no slowing down. No like, oh, now I'm, you see that a lot of guys. That's why the farm system is there for a reason. As we all know, that talent and that competitiveness and the competition gets harder and harder each level. And that's where guys kind of typically end up staying in the AA, AAA area because they kind of hit that plateau until they can supersede it. And he's just been like, the trajectory for Stewart has been off the rails. So maybe if the Reds are going to stay in this playoff race, as we soon hear talk about them, maybe he gets the call and they try to bring him up. You'd like to think that, the front office is trying to help them win games and they're going to give them all the pieces to help Tito and company do that. So, but it's either way, it's nice to at least see the Dragons, getting some wins and 2 walk-off wins too in extra innings.
11th inning walk-off on Sunday to get that sweep actually. So that's pretty cool.
Pretty cool. And two of them in 1 week too at home. So it's good to see the little buzz surrounding them again. We kind of missed that from this year. So
there's only going to be one more series left at home. This week right now, they're actually on the road for their final road series. Then they're back home for their last home series. And that's it.
Yep.
No more baseball here in Dayton.
That's right. And then we are still keeping an eye on the Cincinnati Reds, obviously. Still in the hunt for that postseason, believe it or not. They've just kind of been hovering right around that 500 mark in classic Reds fashion. They've been staying, though, on the positive side, though, in front of it as of Sunday's win in Arizona. still not have been swept yet. They're the only team in Major League Baseball.
It's something like 42 or 43 series in a row now.
It's pretty unbelievable.
Approaching a record for the franchise.
Yeah, you can't put that team away. They'll bounce back no matter what, which is what this Reds team's been able to somehow do. So, as we talk about 30 games left here in this postseason, and they're hoping the New York Mets continue to just free fall. They've been not the normal Mets, especially with the talented team of Alonso, Lindor, and Soto now too this year. So they're still right there. Just gotta keep plugging away at those wins. So.
That's right. They've just been kind of bouncing around from a half game back, a game back, a 1.5, 2, and just fluctuating like a roller coaster in that range.
They're right there.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see. We've seen this story before with the Reds team that just gets everybody's hopes up and kind of lets them down. But maybe this year will be different. So
we talk about Kirk Herbstreit. That's something he tweets about more than anything.
Oh, yeah,
if it's not college football, I just see him tweet these paragraphs about how disappointing the Reds are all the time.
Herbstreit, big Reds fan, definitely wants to see that team do well. So, and kind of speaking of Herbstreit, kind of segues us right back into closing out the show here with some more high school football. And Kayler, I'll let you take this portion away because you saw a game that may never be matched again, and hopefully it does in your time here in the Miami Valley. But what a start to the season with the Battle of Kettering for you.
Week 1 of the high school football season, and my very first game to cover in Ohio was one of the best games I've ever seen. In fact, I came back and I told Joey, I think I just need to quit. It's not going to get any better than this. It's all downhill from here. But yeah, Alter and Fairmont in the Battle of Kettering, the 58th edition. This is how it ended. It was a 21-21 game with 30 seconds left. All Fairmont had to do was really kneel it out, send it to overtime, or try to go score. And instead, Alter broke up the party and strip-sacked the quarterback and returned it for a touchdown to win the game for the first time in 5 years. And I will say, even though the Fairmont side was bigger and had more people, the Alter side was way louder.
Oh yeah, they brought that energy, and that game always draws such a great crowd too. It was a little cooler too that Thursday night. We had great weather, and I mean, what a play from Ogburn to come in there. And then look at Wyatt Riefschneider take that one back to the house. Great shot too. I mean, doesn't get better than that for a first high school football game, and the Alter student section loving it.
It was so thrilling. I was trying to keep myself calm while shooting that play, but my adrenaline was going off the charts just watching it, knowing, oh my gosh, I can't believe this just happened, because it can happen, right? Like that's the way that they would have to win the game. It's like, oh, they got to get a turnover right here and go score. But you don't expect it to happen on the first play of the drive, and you really just don't expect it to happen in general.
Right.
So the fact that it did, and the way it did, 30 seconds left, and to ice it and win for the first time in 5 years was crazy. And I caught up with Coach Ed Domsites and Wyatt Riefschneider, who scored that game-winning touchdown after the game, and here's what they had to say.
It's been a while since we were the Kings of Kettering, but it looks like we're back at least for another year. Great ball game. Our kids never gave up. Both sides played their heart out. It's a little bit like watching Ohio State in that Texas game. It didn't look real good. It looked like we were going to be going into overtime, and then all of a sudden we're celebrating.
I wasn't paying attention to anything. I was just coming up for the run. The ball popped out. That surprised me. I picked up the ball and ran as fast as I could to the end zone. It honestly means everything. I mean, I love this team so much, and losing to these guys for 5 years in a row is like, it just hurts, man. So I mean, getting that winning touchdown feels amazing.
Yep,
awesome.
Right on cue with Ohio State, Texas. They had their own little Jack Sawyer moment, and that senior class hadn't won that game in their high school career, so it was cool for those seniors to go out on top. Starter
trophy going back to Alter. Good for Ed Domsites and company. Speaking though of Fairmont coming up, though, they are going to be our next game of the week here coming up against Trotwood Madison. These two always putting on a show as well. This one at Roush. Kayler will be at that one, hopefully to try to top the Alter Fairmont finish. It's going to be hard to do, like we mentioned. Alter, though, meanwhile, going to continue that early winning ways here. They got Taft down in Cincinnati. And last year, Taft beat Alter 36-7, so maybe the Knights are using some of that, that
keep
riding
that
high,
momentum.
Coming that momentum right into the next one. So plenty of excitement here for these next slate of Operation Football games. And for more of that, of course, you can join us on our pre-op football show And that'll run throughout the week. And once again, on Friday night, leading up to week 2, it's already here. We're already into it, Kayler. Pretty hard to believe.
All right, looking forward to it. Yeah, like I said, don't know if it can top week 1, but I certainly hope we continue to just go up from here, and I'm sure we will.
Absolutely. We'll be on the sidelines for all of it with another week of Operation Football. So much more going on. Be sure to stick with us next week here on 2 Sports Overtime. That's Kayler Smith. I'm Joey DeBerardino. Have a great rest of your week.